Jimmy Hoffa lived a life that was as dramatic as it was impactful, and died by the sword of the mob. His life was a testament to the turbulent times he lived in, where the lines between right and wrong were often blurred. This statement, often whispered in hushed tones, encapsulates the tumultuous life of one of America's most powerful and controversial labor leaders. Hoffa's name still evokes a sense of mystery and intrigue, decades after his disappearance. James Riddle Hoffa, born in Brazil, Indiana in 1913, rose from humble beginnings to become a titan of the American labor movement. His early years were marked by hardship and struggle, which shaped his relentless drive and determination. He was a man who walked a tightrope between fighting for workers' rights and forging alliances with organized crime. Hoffa's ability to navigate these treacherous waters made him both a hero and a villain in the eyes of many. This is the story of Jimmy Hoffa, a man whose life and disappearance remain shrouded in mystery. His legacy is a complex tapestry of triumphs and controversies, victories and defeats. Hoffa's story is one of ambition, power, and ultimately, tragedy. His rise to power was meteoric, but his fall was equally dramatic, leaving behind a legacy that continues to be debated and analyzed. He understood the plight of the working class. Hoffa's empathy for the common worker was not just a political stance. It was a deeply personal conviction. He had experienced it firsthand. Growing up during the Great Depression, Hoffa knew what it meant to struggle for every penny, and this experience fueled his passion for labor rights. He was a man who could rally thousands with his fiery speeches and unwavering dedication to improving the lives of his fellow workers. His charisma and oratory skills were legendary, making him a formidable force in the labor movement. But his path to power was paved with questionable alliances and ruthless tactics that would ultimately lead to his downfall. Hoffa's willingness to engage with organized crime figures was a double-edged sword, providing him with the muscle he needed, but also entangling him in a web of corruption. Hoffa's story is a microcosm of a turbulent era in American history. The mid-20th century was a time of great social and economic upheaval, and Hoffa was at the center of it all. It was a time when organized labor was gaining strength and challenging the status quo. Unions were becoming powerful entities, capable of bringing industries to a standstill and demanding better conditions for workers. It was also a time when organized crime held significant sway in many industries, including transportation. The mob saw the burgeoning labor movement as an opportunity to expand their influence and control. Hoffa's life and career became intertwined with both, creating a complex and often dangerous web of relationships and allegiances. His ability to balance these conflicting interests was both his greatest strength and his ultimate undoing. Despite his public persona, Hoffa was also a family man. He was deeply devoted to his wife and children, and his personal life was a stark contrast to the tumultuous world of labor and crime he navigated. The mystery of Hoffa's disappearance in 1975 remains one of America's most enduring unsolved cases. Numerous theories and speculations have emerged over the years, but the truth remains elusive. Hoffa's legacy continues to influence the labor movement today. His efforts to improve the lives of workers have left an indelible mark, and his story serves as a cautionary tale of the dangers of power and corruption. As we look back on Hoffa's life, we see a man who was both a product and a shaper of his times. His story is a reminder of the complexities of leadership and the enduring struggle for justice and equality in the workplace. Detroit in the 1930s was a city of stark contrasts. The skyline was a mix of towering buildings and sprawling factories, a testament to the city's industrial might. Yet, beneath this facade of prosperity, there was a simmering undercurrent of struggle and hardship. The booming auto industry drew workers from across the country, seeking a better life. Factories buzzed with activity, and the promise of steady employment lured many to the Motor City. The assembly lines were the lifeblood of Detroit, churning out cars that would drive America forward. But the Great Depression cast a long shadow, and competition for jobs was fierce. Bread lines stretched around city blocks, and the desperation was palpable. Families struggled to make ends meet, and the dream of a better life often seemed just out of reach. It was in this crucible of poverty and opportunity that a young Jimmy Hoffa cut his teeth. Born into a working-class family, Hoffa understood the value of hard work from an early age. The streets of Detroit were his classroom, and he learned quickly how to navigate the complexities of urban life. Hoffa's formal education ended in 9th grade, but he possessed a sharp mind and an even sharper instinct for survival. Despite his lack of formal schooling, he was a voracious reader and a keen observer of human nature. These traits would serve him well in the years to come. He began working odd jobs, eventually landing at a Kroger grocery store warehouse. The work was grueling and the hours were long, but Hoffa was determined to make something of himself, and he threw himself into his work with a relentless drive. Conditions were abysmal, and Hoffa witnessed firsthand the exploitation of workers by powerful companies. The warehouse was a place of back-breaking labor, with little regard for the well-being of the employees. This stark reality fueled Hoffa's growing sense of injustice. This experience ignited a fire in him, a desire to fight for fairness and justice for the working class. He began to organize his fellow workers, speaking out against the harsh conditions and advocating for better treatment. His passion and determination resonated with those around him. Hoffa's charisma and natural leadership qualities didn't go unnoticed. He had a way of connecting with people, of making them feel heard and understood. This ability to inspire and motivate others would become one of his greatest assets. He quickly rose through the ranks of the local Teamsters union, organizing workers and leading strikes against companies that refused to provide fair wages and working conditions. His efforts brought tangible improvements to the lives of many workers, and his reputation as a formidable leader grew. His tactics were often aggressive, even bordering on illegal, but they were effective. Hoffa believed that the ends justified the means, and he was willing to take risks to achieve his goals. His confrontational approach often put him at odds with both employers and law enforcement. Hoffa's reputation as a man who could deliver results, both for his members and for himself, spread throughout Detroit's underworld. He was seen as a powerful figure, someone who could get things done. This notoriety brought him into contact with some of the city's most influential and dangerous individuals. He wasn't afraid to get his hands dirty, and he knew how to make deals with anyone who could help him achieve his goals, even if those goals meant aligning himself with some of the city's most notorious gangsters. Hoffa's willingness to operate in the shadows, to forge alliances with unsavory characters, was a testament to his relentless ambition and his unwavering commitment to his cause. By the 1940s, Jimmy Hoffa had become a major force in the Teamsters union. His rise to power was marked by his relentless drive and his ability to connect with the working-class members of the union. Hoffa's charisma and determination made him a natural leader, and he quickly gained the trust and loyalty of his fellow Teamsters. He understood the power of collective bargaining and wasn't afraid to use it. Hoffa believed that the strength of the union lay in its unity and its ability to stand together against the powerful corporations that sought to exploit the workers. He organized strikes and rallies, always pushing for better wages, safer working conditions, and fair treatment for his members. But he also recognized the limitations of traditional union tactics, especially when dealing with powerful corporations and corrupt officials. Hoffa knew that the usual methods of negotiation and protest were not always enough to achieve the desired results. He needed an edge, something that would give him the upper hand in the constant battle for workers' rights. To achieve his goals, Hoffa turned to a dangerous ally, the Mafia. This decision was not made lightly, but Hoffa saw it as a necessary step to protect his union and its members. The Mafia, with its extensive network and influence, offered a level of support and protection that Hoffa could not find elsewhere. The lines between organized labor and organized crime were often blurred in post-war America. The Mafia had already infiltrated various industries, and their involvement in the labor movement was just another extension of their reach. For Hoffa, this alliance was a means to an end, a way to ensure that his union could stand up to the powerful forces arrayed against it. The mob saw the Teamsters, with its control over trucking routes and transportation, as a lucrative opportunity. The trucking industry was the lifeblood of the American economy, and controlling it meant having a significant influence over the flow of goods and services. The Mafia recognized the potential for profit and power, and they were eager to exploit it. Hoffa, in turn, saw the mob as a tool to solidify his power and protect his interests. He believed that by aligning himself with these powerful figures, he could ensure the safety and success of his union. The Mafia's muscle and resources provided Hoffa with the means to intimidate his rivals and secure favorable outcomes in negotiations. Hoffa forged alliances with powerful Mafia figures like Santo Perrone and Meyer Lansky. These men were notorious for their criminal activities, but they also wielded significant influence and power. Hoffa's relationship with them was mutually beneficial, as both parties sought to gain from the other's strengths. These alliances provided him with muscle to intimidate rivals, influence politicians, and ensure that strikes and negotiations went his way. The presence of the Mafia gave Hoffa an edge that few could challenge, and it allowed him to push through his agenda with a level of force and determination that was unmatched. In return, the mob gained access to the Teamsters' vast pension fund, which they used to finance various criminal enterprises. This arrangement was highly profitable for the Mafia, as it provided them with a steady stream of funds to support their illegal activities. The pension fund, meant to secure the future of the union's members, became a tool for organized crime. This unholy alliance would have far-reaching consequences, both for Hoffa and for the Teamsters. While it brought short-term gains and increased the union's power, it also introduced a level of corruption and violence that would ultimately prove destructive. The ties to organized crime tainted the union's reputation and undermined the very principles that Hoffa had fought for. It would fuel the union's rapid growth and transform it into a major political force. The Teamsters became a powerful entity, capable of influencing elections and shaping public policy. Hoffa's leadership and the union's newfound strength made them a force to be reckoned with in American politics. But it would also sow the seeds of corruption and violence that would eventually consume Hoffa and tarnish the union's reputation. The very alliance that had helped Hoffa rise to power would become his downfall, as the criminal elements he had embraced began to erode the integrity of the union. Hoffa's disappearance in 1975 remains one of the most enduring mysteries in American history, a testament to the dangerous path he had chosen.